that finally did things for the Aggies.
Such a long game. It can take a toll on your body and just taxing on your mind throughout the entire 15-inning, I believe, 4-hour game. So just a huge moment right there from Kelly Martinez, able to step up and get the Aggies a win.
Getting the start today for Texas A&M, it is going to be the sophomore right-handed pitcher, number 6, Kayla Poynter.
And Kayla Poynter, we've seen her a lot throughout the season, and mostly east to west type pitcher, but her key is going to be body language, confidence on the mound. As soon as she feels confident and is attacking the zone, she does great. She goes right at hitters, but when she starts getting behind in counts, starts letting that kind of affect her body language, and it kind of shows outwardly, it can start to affect her strikes and balls, and can be hard in the long run.
She's going to face a very tough Alabama lineup. Kaylee Tao getting things started off for the Tide. She'll be followed by KB Sides and Bailey Hemphill, who we just discussed a moment ago. Tao coming into this ball game hitting at .373. Takes the first pitch for a ball. Tao, a very, very disciplined hitter. She leads the NCAA with 32 walks on the season. And when you're hitting in that leadoff spot, it is so important for you to be able to just get on base in any way.
And not only get on base, but seeing a lot of pitches is so helpful for your entire lineup.
Swings at that one, just gets a piece of it. Went right back into Danny Elder catching for Texas A&M today, getting the start behind the plate. She looks to be okay. The umpire will give her a little bit of time as he brushes off the plate just to make sure that she's okay.
Those hurt.
Yeah, that one definitely got a piece of her. You could tell. As we mentioned, Danny Elder getting the start today behind the plate for Texas A&M. Counts 2-1 to Tao. And already Kayla Poynter here behind in the count, 3 balls, 1 strike. Again, a very disciplined hitter. Tao does not swing at a lot of junk. And quickly, she's got a hitter's count. And that one misses. So a leadoff walk for Kaylee Tao. That is now her 33rd walk of the season. She does lead the country in walks. It's going to bring up the right fielder, number 8, KB Sides, the sophomore from Dora, Alabama. Sides hitting a even .300 on the season so far. Tao does not have any stolen bases on the season, so not necessarily a threat over there at first base. And we'll see what Coach Pat Murphy decides to do here in this situation, whether they'll sack bunt her over or try to do something else with Sides in this situation. Count is 1-0. Ground ball to the left side. It's going to hop, and Kayla Garcia getting the start at shortstop today for the Aggies is not going to be able to control that one. And Alabama now with runners at first and second.
And that's just a tough one right there. This ball was hit pretty solid, and Garcia, you see her just wait back a little bit too long. She needs to go get that ball, try to catch that on a short hop. She's lucky that it stayed in front, and Kaylee Tao is still sitting at second base. Could have easily taken third if it would have gotten away.
Coach Murphy happy with the fact that he's got runners at first and second with his number 3-hole hitter, Bailey Hemphill, the designated player in today's ball game, hitting .348 on the season. Lafayette, Louisiana native. We talked about her at the beginning of the broadcast, has just done tremendous things this season. 44 RBI on the year and 13 home runs. Poynter already being very careful with Hemphill. 2 balls and no strikes.
And I love seeing the 44 RBIs because as a hitter personally, I always tried to get 1 RBI per game. So if I ended the season with as many RBIs as games we played, that was a successful season for me.
This one's driven up out into right center. It is gone. Bailey Hemphill with her 14th home run of the year. Alabama up quickly, 3-0.
And you see why Bailey Hemphill leads the NCAA in RBIs, wasting absolutely no time with runners on base, just takes this pitch on the outside corner, doesn't even get all of this pitch, and that shows you how strong she really is. She lets it travel, but she could have even afforded to let it travel a little bit more. This would have been even farther out, probably hit the development center back there in center field, but just absolutely crushed this ball. And way to put a statement in the first inning on for your team.
And as you mentioned, Tori, that pitch was not necessarily a bad pitch. Low and outside, didn't even get necessarily the whole ball, but just showed off her power with that swing right there. Well, that's going to bring up Claire Jenkins, the shortstop, swinging on the first pitch, fouls that one back. So Alabama getting things started early. Still no outs here in the top of the first. Jenkins, 6 home runs on the season. This one I thought maybe had gotten a piece of Jenkins, but it just goes off of Elder's glove. So high and inside for ball 1, evens the count, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Looked like that hit the umpire. You'll see Danny Elder running out to the mound just to give him a second, kind of got his mask, it looked like there. I think that's why you thought that it hit the batter, but
you heard the sound,
yeah,
right?
You
could hear something. And Elder giving him a little payback with that time right there after she got hit earlier in the inning, and he gave her a couple of extra seconds. So,
and I love that about the game. It's just the little things that you don't see or really recognize until someone points that out. But the catcher and the umpire and the pitcher, they all take care of each other, and that's a good move right there by Elder.
There's definitely a relationship that goes on right there. Poynter tries to go back inside to Jenkins, misses, 2 balls, 1 strike. Jenkins hitting a even 300 on the season. Has 21 hits on the year. Poynter really working the inside part of the plate right there. Catches the corner on that one, evens the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
If Poynter can respond right here with a strikeout or even just a ground out, any type of out, that'll be huge.
Here's the 2-2. That one misses low. So a full count to Claire Jenkins, the 4-hole hitter for Alabama. Patrick Murphy happy with the start so far. It's his 21st season as the head coach at Alabama. Has been with the Tide since the inception of the program. Started off as an assistant, promoted to head coach, and has now been there for all of it. Swing and a miss. Got a piece of it, but into Elder's glove for strike 3. And Tori, you mentioned it. If Poynter can respond right here with a big out, and she did.
And that's huge. And in past times, we've seen Kayla Poynter kind of start to crumble on a home run. But this pitch, she just puts it on the very corner on the inside part of the plate. And Claire Jenkins doesn't get her hands out in front, gets her hips around, and then kind of slices her hands through the zone, not allowing her to get to that pitch. Great job right there by Kayla Poynter.
It's going to bring up the lone senior in this starting lineup for the Tide. Excuse me, not lone senior. Reagan Dykes will follow up, but it is Maris Schroeder, the left fielder, hitting .286 on the season. Schroeder, the only Tide player coming into this ball game hitting under 300. We talked about the consistency from top to bottom in this lineup, and still .286. Not an average to dismiss by any means. Poynter quickly ahead in this count. No balls, 2 strikes. Tries to go to the off speed, misses low, but I think that's a good placement right there for that pitch.
Very good decision. Keep it low, make them try to chase, not give them anything to hit, 0-2 count. Great placement.
Pitch misses outside to even the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Strike three looking, 2 strikeouts in a row for Kayla Poynter. And she has answered back in a tremendous way after that 3-run shot by Bailey Hemphill. Defensively for Texas A&M, Kelby Fortenberry out in center field. Blake Ann Fritsch on the left. It's actually Taudria Sinney in right field getting the start today for the Aggies. First pitch to the catcher, Reagan Dykes. There's another senior in that lineup I mentioned. No balls, 1 strike.
You'll see Coach Evans being very crafty with the lineup there. A lot of substitutions here and there, playing around with it, putting a DP in.
There's the lone senior for Texas A&M, Riley Sarton getting the start at third base. It's Kayla Garcia, we mentioned earlier in the inning, getting her 2nd start of the year over at short. Kelly Martinez at 2nd and Bailey Klingler at 1st for the Aggies. So again, Kayla Poynter ahead in the count, no balls, 2 strikes to Reagan Dykes. Ground ball to the right side, mishandled by Martinez, but she's still able to make the throw in time for the 3rd out. So 3 outs in a row for the Aggies, but not before this. Bailey Hemphill, the 3-run shot, puts the Tide up 3-0 here in the 1st. The Aggies are up to bat when we come back. Alabama up 3-0 over Texas A&M as the Aggies will have a chance to respond here in the bottom of the 1st. And today they're going to have to face the freshman from Alabama, number 14, Montana Fouts.
Montana Fouts, only a freshman, but I have been so impressed with just her composure on the mound and how she attacks. She is going to throw strikes. She's a huge strike thrower, only has 11 walks on the season. And just looking at the innings pitched, 76 innings and only 11 walks. And that's just incredible. That shows you how much she is in the strike zone. She has a great command of all of her pitches, so it's not something that she's going to rely on more so one than the other. But let me tell you, she throws hard. You will see her hitting 70, 71, very consistent too. So we'll see if these A&M hitters can catch up to it.
Fouts with a .74 ERA on her perfect season so far, 11-0. But she's going to have to face the hottest hitter in this Texas A&M lineup, Kelby Fortenberry, to lead things off. Fortenberry hitting .420 on the season so far and has just been an excellent leadoff hitter for the Aggies. Fouts 2 balls in a row, so Fortenberry working ahead in this count. 2 balls, no strikes. Fortenberry's just a tough out. She does not strike out very much at all. She only has 2 strikeouts on the season. Check swing there. They will say she goes, so 2 balls, 1 strike. Ground ball to the right side. Easy play, Wallace to Tao for out number 1. Taking a look at the Alabama infield, it's Maddie Morgan over at third, Claire Jenkins at short, Skylar Wallace at second, who just made that ground ball play, and Kaylee Tao at first. Reagan Dykes getting the start behind the plate. In the outfield for the Tide, Maris Schroeder in left field, Alyssa Brown in center, and then KB Sides out in right. And this is pretty much, besides the catcher position, which will alternate between Hemphill and Dykes, that defensive lineup is what you are going to see from Alabama, or what you have seen all year.
And that's a crucial thing too, just knowing who you're playing next to at all times. You don't have to wonder going into the game who's going to be to my left, who's going to be to my right. It stays pretty consistent, gives the players a good idea of what to expect.
And that is something that Texas A&M has had to deal with this year, is an ever-changing lineup. And, you know, even today, seeing Kayla Garcia there at short, the outfielders, they have, and the nice part is for A&M, they have some depth. They have the options to make those changes. But for Alabama, they've kind of got their set lineup, and, that's what they're going with. And obviously it's working. Fouts quickly ahead here. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Blake Ann Fritch, the junior left fielder for the Aggies. Fritch hitting .235. Ground ball back up the middle to Fouts. Makes to play over to first in time for the second out of the inning. The Aggies are led by head coach Jo Evans in her 23rd season as the head coach here at Texas A&M. And Tori, for someone who got to play under her for 4 years, what was that like? What was she like as a coach?
Man, it's so hard to bring it down into just a couple words or sentences, but you'll never meet another coach like her. I think she has a way with words, absolutely. If you've ever seen an interview with her or any type of public speaking event, she is just so crafty with her words. And something that I really appreciated about her was she taught us how to respect the game.
Riley Sarton steps in for the Aggies, 3-hole hitter, the senior, lone senior on this team, the only returning starter in the lineup for Texas A&M this year from last year. Sarton hitting .338 coming into this ball game.
And fun fact about Coach Evans as we walk away from that, she's been the head coach as long as I've been alive. I always used to joke with her. I'm like, Coach Evans, how long have you been here? She's just like, remember when you were born? That's how long.
She was recruiting you from the beginning.
From the womb.
That pitch misses inside. So 3 balls, 1 strike to Riley Sarton. And this is a great opportunity right here for Sarton with this hitter's count.
And I'm sure they're trying to be a little bit careful with Riley Sarton here, but they are ahead 3-0. I'm sure that there's going to be a strike right here, or at least hoping to be.
And that one misses up. So ball 4, Riley Sarton draws the 2-out walk. The Aggies have the first runner on of the ball game.
And with Fouts only having 11 walks on the season, I guarantee an emphasis for the Texas A&M hitters is going to be attack, but attack strikes. But be patient. If she throws balls, take the balls. Don't start swinging at pitches that are out of your zone or that you know you can't handle. So that is a huge walk for Riley Sarton.
It's going to bring up the freshman first baseman, number 8, Bailey Klingler. Swinging on the first pitch. That one's going to get through Morgan's legs at third. Got right under her glove. And that is going to be ruled in error. But regardless, Bailey Klingler able to get something going here for the Aggies.
And you'll see this swing. She just gets her hips cleared and just not all the way down on the ball like we're taught as infielders. Just got to stay down on that. It was hit very hard, so it's understandable that you think it's going to take a hot, but got to work ground up on that.
So that's going to bring up the designated player for Texas A&M, the freshman, number 25, Haley Lee, tries to hold back on that one, but they're going to say she did go, so no balls, 1 strike. Lee from Kingwood, Texas, has gotten a lot of playing time behind the plate this year for the Aggies. When she's not catching, typically do see her in this designated player spot. Big swing and a miss right there, so Fouts quickly ahead, no balls, 2 strikes. Lee coming into this ball game hitting .333, does have 2 home runs on the season. Had a big home run against LSU in that first SEC series for Texas A&M. This one's launched into left field, but will it stay fair? No, it is a foul ball. But almost a very big 0-2 mistake right there by Montana Fouts.
That ball was launched by Haley Lee. I know she wants that one back to try to get inside it just a tad bit more.
Out.
But that could have been very deadly right there, especially when you went ahead 3-0 and one swing gets you even again.
Just a long foul ball. Here's the 0-2. Try to work low and outside. Misses for ball 1. Lee, a lot of personality, a lot of fun, brings a ton of energy, and they like keeping her in this lineup. Even if she's not starting behind the plate defensively, you love the energy that she brings. just gets a piece of that one. Lee on the season with runners in scoring position 353. Same number for an average with 2 outs. And that one misses. And Tori, so far, I am impressed with how disciplined the Texas A&M hitters have been against Montana Fouts.
I am too. I think they're doing a great job of taking balls when they're balls and attacking those strikes. And even if they're getting down in counts, they're not just swinging at anything close. They're letting the umpire decide.
Swing and a miss right there by Haley Lee. Strike 3, so Texas A&M threatens, but Fouts is able to get out of it with a strikeout. Alabama comes up to bat when we come back. Welcome back to College Station, Texas. Alabama with an early 3-0 lead over the home team, Texas A&M. Now, overall, Alabama leads this series 14-3, but last time they were in College Station, Tori, I think you might have been part of this. The Aggies run-ruled the Tide 14-1 in 5 innings.
That was a fun one. I do remember.
Alabama, however, 7-2 against Texas A&M in College Station overall. So definitely a series history that leans toward the Tide. And right now, they have a 3-0 lead here in the top of the second. It's going to be 7, 8, and 9 up for the Tide. Maddie Morgan to lead things off. The sophomore is hitting .353 on the season. Poynter quickly behind, 3 balls, no strikes. And going back to that first inning, Tori, Poynter gave up the walk to Tao. She gave up an infield single to Sides, and then the 3-run shot by Bailey Hemphill. But then she comes back with 2 strikeouts in a row and a ground out.
And that was huge. The ground out, the 2 strikeouts are the statement factor for me, and then the ground out. It's huge to be able to give up that home run and then immediately come back and get 3 up, 3 down right after the home run. But the game changer to me was the leadoff walk. If you don't get that leadoff walk, what happens then? Maybe the score's not 3-0.
So after going down 3 balls, no strikes, Kayla Poynter comes back to make this count full. And I feel like these are 3 very big at-bats right here for Kayla Poynter. You've got 7, 8, and 9, the bottom of the order. This ball is going to be fair all the way across the diamond. Riley Sarton with the strong throw for the first out of the inning.
And this ball barely stays fair. Riley Sarton just doing a great job getting her feet, getting the ball centered, and makes a good throw to Bailey Klingler at first, and first out of the inning. Huge comeback right there by Kayla Poynter.
Hitting in the 8th spot is the second baseman, Skylar Wallace. Takes the first pitch for a strike. Wallace hitting .329 on the season. Only a freshman out of Woodstock, Georgia. Does have 3 home runs on the season. Great pitch right there by Kayla Poynter. Just catches the inside part of the plate for strike 2.
I don't think Wallace liked that call right there. Great pitch.
And that's what these first few innings are all about, trying to figure out what the umpire strike zone is like. You've got Don Brown there behind home plate, Anthony Small and Brandon Bloom round up the crew tonight. But both for hitters and pitchers. What can I get away with as a pitcher? What can I not swing at as a hitter? Or what do I have to swing at to protect the plate? And that one is going to catch her in the leg. So Wallace hit by a pitch. Poynter just trying to go back on the inside part of the plate right there.
And this pitch is the same one that Wallace did not like earlier, and that ball right there just gets a little bit too far inside and gets Wallace on the leg there, and runner at first.
Third time Wallace has been hit by a pitch this year. It's going to bring up the 9-hole. Alyssa Brown, the center fielder. Pitch going, and the throw is not going to be in time. So a stolen base for Skylar Wallace, her 9th stolen base on the season. Really a ton of speed here at the bottom of the lineup for Alabama. Skylar Wallace, that's her 9th stolen. Alyssa Brown with a ton of speed already has 21 stolen bases on the year. So now you've got a runner in scoring position, 1 out. See what Brown chooses to do here.
And this will be a huge out for A&M right here, knowing that Alyssa Brown does have a ton of speed. If she puts the ball on the dirt and is safe at first base and Wallace advances to third with Kaylee Tao up, that's the last thing you want to give them another opportunity to score.
Chopper up the middle. Martinez is going to have a play. It's not in time. And what a perfectly executed hit right there by Alyssa Brown.
Like I said, she has a ton of speed, just places this ball so well. Makes Kelly Martinez come forward, but has to turn her entire body around to try to even attempt a throw to first base. And Alyssa Brown knows how fast she is, knows exactly where she needs to put it on the dirt to be safe. And now there's a runner at first and third for Alabama with Kaylee Tao up to bat.
Yeah, so the top of the order for the Tide is up. Tao drew a walk in her first at bat. Brown will go on the first pitch. Elder will make the throw down. It's cut off by Martinez, and Wallace stays put at third. So now 2 runners in scoring position for the Tide, and that's exactly where they want to be.
And this play right here, Martinez just comes across the path way too early. She needs to be floating around next to that straight line, that power line as we like to call it, because she's cutting that ball off without giving the throw a chance to get the runner out at second. Wallace was going nowhere at third. And that's Riley Sarton's job at third base to say, hey, she's good, you're good, you're good, you're good. Keeps yelling that so your infielders know exactly where the runners are at. I think you need to let that ball go all the way down to second, give it a chance.
The 1-1 misses up. Counts now 2 balls, 1 strike to Kaylee Tao. Tao hitting .438 with runners in scoring position. So great numbers going into this at-bat. Floater over Martinez's head. 1 run will score. Here comes the throw. It is offline. Brown will score. They throw down to second, and they will get Tao out trying to take second, but not before 2 runs score on that hit by Kaylee Tao.
And like we said, Kaylee Tao has a very high average with runners in scoring position. And this ball right here, she doesn't get very much of it, just gets a little bit of it, enough to get over Kelly Martinez's head. Nothing you can do right there. But as an outfielder, you have to know Alyssa Brown is going to score. So the throw is a little bit offline, but Danny Elder does a great job of going to the ball and seeing that back runner trying to advance to second and getting that play right there. That's a huge play to keep her out of scoring position.
So Texas A&M now has 2 outs. Alabama does put 2 more on the board. And KB Sides, the right fielder, up to bat for the Tide. Sides 1 for 1 on the day. She had that choppy ground ball over to shortstop in the first inning that got away from Garcia, but was ruled a single. Off-speed pitch.
Great pitch right there.
Finds the strike zone. You know, you talked about anything that gets to the green. If Alyssa Brown is on second base, she's scoring.
She's so fast that they play a motorcycle revving at Alabama.
And, I mean, it's not even a question if you're Coach Murphy over at third. You're sending her.
If I was fast, I'd probably send myself. Like, the LSU-Florida game. Did you watch on Monday?
So I'm watching the highlight of that game, and I think, how does she send her with one out?
She didn't.
Then you watch the other video that LSU posted on social media, and Beth Torina has this big old stop sign just saying, no, 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 no. And she ran right through it. But, hey, it worked out in LSU's favor.
Need for speed.
Oh. 3 balls, 2 strikes to KB Sides. Just gets a piece of this one, fouls it off down the third base line. Riley Sarton will chase that down and get it back into the circle. We mentioned Riley Sarton, the only senior on this Texas A&M team, the only returning starter. To her left, you've got a freshman, Kayla Garcia, only her 2nd start of the season. Kelly Martinez over at second is really a catcher by trade. Swing and a miss. Kayla Poynter didn't need her defense on that one. Got the strikeout for out number 3. But Alabama will put 2 more on the board with the single from Kaylee Tao. Alabama with the early lead, the Tide up 5-0 on 4 hits. Something that head coach Pat Murphy has got to be very pleased with. 21st season as the head coach for the Crimson Tide, a Hall of Fame inductee back in 2013. Of course, the big year, 2012, when they won it all. And earlier this season, he hit the magic number 400 conference wins. That is the most win by an SEC coach. Got it back in the first game against Missouri. And Tori, there's not another coach in the SEC, current or former, who's even hit the 300 mark yet.
Yeah, I look at that graphic and I'm looking at 100 win difference. That's huge. That just shows how successful he's been with the players he's recruited and how great of a coach he is.
And speaking with him before the game today, you know, he just talked about the blue-collar mentality. They come in, they work their butts off, and they might not have the 5-star recruit, so to say. He goes, we have a couple, we have a few, but, you know, for the most part, we just get kids who want to work, who love the game, and it pays off. Danny Elder up to bat for Texas A&M. The catcher starting things off for the Aggies. Count is 1-2. Texas A&M able to get a couple of runners on back in the first. Riley Sarton drew a walk. Bailey Klingler got on an error, but then Fouts into the inning with a big strikeout to Haley Lee.
Not a bad inning at all. I think they need to build off of last inning and keep the momentum going.
Gets a piece of that one, bounces off of her leg. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Elder. Elder, a sophomore, and kind of got beat out in that catcher spot by Haley Lee at the beginning of the season, but then you saw them kind of shift more into the splitting time behind the plate. Obviously, she got the start there today. Swing and a miss, strike 3 to Elder. 2nd strikeout on the day for Montana Fouts.
And this pitch just down and away, and Elder pulls off just a tiny bit and swings through that one.
It's going to bring up the hero from Wednesday night, Kelly Martinez. In the bottom of the 15th against SFA, hit the 2-out, 2-run shot to finally clinch the victory for Texas A&M. It was the longest game in program history since 1994 when the Aggies beat McNeese in 15 innings, 3-2.
I'm glad it wasn't me. That's a long time to be on cleats and locked in. Very tiring.
Well, I'm talking to Coach Evans about it before the game. She said, I looked at it as 2 games. So she was very happy with the sense that her pitching staff was able to get through 2 full games that she considered the most efficient games that they've pitched all season. And was very happy with the way her team handled the pressure. Because it was not a scoreless ball game that was 3 up, 3 down every inning. There were a ton of base runners. I think between the two teams, 30 base runners were stranded. Now, obviously, offensively, you're not happy with that, but dealing with some of the pressure that was put on them in certain innings, she was very happy with the way her team responded.
A lot of plays at the plate that were made, and that's just huge for your defense, just to get a little bit more confidence coming into a game as big as this one, playing an undefeated team, knowing that they're going to produce. How are you going to match it and bring your own energy to the field, even after a 15-inning game?
Hitters count to Martinez. Gets a piece of that one. Count now full. And Tori, you mentioned it earlier, how important it is for these Texas A&M hitters to see a lot of pitches. And I think they're doing a nice job of making Fouts pitch probably more than she really wants to right now.
32 pitches, and the inning isn't even over yet. So I would say that the A&M hitters are seeing a lot of pitches, which is going to help them in the long run.
Fisted over to shortstop. The throw is in time from Jenkins for out number 2. And
this pitch right here just jammed once again, and Fouts tends to do that with her speed and just brings it on the inside half of the plate, and Martinez can't get a barrel on it. Nice little 6-3 play, 2 outs.
It's going to bring up the freshman shortstop, Kayla Garcia, getting her second start of the season. Started Wednesday against SFA and was actually the runner on base when Kelly Martinez hit her 2-run home run there in the bottom of the 15th. That one gets away from Dykes for ball number 2. So Garcia does come into this ball game hitting .500. This is, however, only her 7th at-bat of the season. And Garcia really able to play either second or short. We've seen her practice at both positions up the middle for Texas A&M. And a leadoff, or not a leadoff walk, but a 2-out walk for Kayla Garcia, and kind of an uncharacteristic at-bat right there, or should I say pitch sequence right there for Fouts.
And almost looking at it in a ratio perspective, she has 2 walks in this game already. She had 11 in her entire career. I mean, she is a freshman,
right,
so not saying very much, but that's huge. That's a very low number for a pitcher to only have 11 walks in 76 innings, and the Aggies already have 2.
Just also to put this in perspective, Tadria Cini steps in. Fouts did not allow a walk through the first 28 innings she pitched this year. And that blows like the Alabama record out of the water.
That's impressive.
Yeah, so 28 innings she got through without issuing a walk. And so, yeah, it just kind of a interesting thing right here. And you're going to see Dykes go out there and talk to her, because now she just threw another one. And you've got the A&M fans really getting into it. The Sugar Daddies right there. Student group for Texas A&M that comes to all the games. And they're starting to yell ball 6 over there, which is a tradition seen both here at softball and at baseball at Texas A&M. There's a strike from Fouts. Evens the count, 1 ball, 1 strike to Tadria Cini. Freshman getting the start out in right field today, hitting .286 on the season. This is her 8th start on the year. Shows bunt, pulls back for ball 2. Cini, your typical slapper, can do a lot from the left side, a ton of speed as well.
I was about to compare her to Alyssa Brown in the sense that both are at the bottom of the lineup and both are extremely speedy. All they need to do is hit the ball on the ground, and more times than not, they're going to be safe.
And Fouts behind in the count again. 3 balls, 1 strike to Cini. Kayla Garcia still sitting over at first base. She drew a walk. swing and a miss there by Cindy. And even when you look at the strikeout to Elder and the ground out by Martinez, Elder had a 2-2 count. Martinez had a full count. I mean, these hitters are still really working deep in the count against Fouts. Here's the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. She does get the strikeout to end the inning. So Texas A&M threatens again with a runner on, but ain't able to get anything across. Alabama keeps their 5-0 lead. The crowd is completely captivated right now by the video screen. Texas A&M does some really cool Ask the Aggies type segments during the middle of innings, and so the fans were definitely into that one. Alabama, though, with the 5-0 lead. And Tori, taking a look at the start that Alabama has had this season, 31-0. It's the best start in program history, and it's right up there in the record books with all of softball.
And when I look at this, I'm just kind of amazed because a great season is 40 wins, right? A successful season, 40 wins. They're almost there, and SEC has barely started. So just regardless of how they finish, it's been a great year already for them and hopefully continues to be even greater as the season goes on.
A lot of that success due right here to this one. Bailey Hemphill, 1 for 1 on the day. She had the 3-run blast in the first inning. Quickly, though, down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes. Hemphill now with 47 RBI on the season. This one's lifted into the air. Fortenberry on the run, gets under it and makes the catch for out number 1.
And off the bat there, I thought that ball was going out again, but just got a little bit under that one and fly ball to Fortenberry.
Well, and it's funny because the first home run she hit, it went off the bat, and I thought, oh, fly ball. No, that one is traveling. And then that one, so it's amazing how different a ball can look right off the bat, but anything that comes from Bailey Hemphill, you really aren't sure where it's going to go.
Could go to Reed Arena, 500 feet away. Probably more than that, but it might hit Reed Arena back there.
Yeah, or it could stay on the infield, you know. But
know.
But she's got such a powerful swing, and so it's always kind of a guessing game as soon as it comes off the bat. Claire Jenkins steps in. The shortstop is 0-1 on the day with a strikeout.
And Poynter was just attacking the inside half last at bat with Jenkins, and Jenkins did get beat on that inner half. So right here, I'm expecting her to make an adjustment. She knows exactly where Poynter is going to bring this ball. Maybe play a little bit of mind games with her, throw it out, bring it back in, but needs to make an adjustment.
This one's lifted into left. It will be going back. Will it stay fair? Yes! Home run, Claire Jenkins.
It's like she heard me. She knew. She made her adjustment there.
You should be a hitting coach or something.
But honestly, Claire Jenkins knew where this pitch was going to be, and once again, she didn't let it beat her twice, and that's what's so great about it. Poynter brings this pitch on the inside half, maybe a little bit too much plate, but about belt high, and Claire Jenkins gets her hands out this time, doesn't let herself get handcuffed. Kind of had to wait to see if this ball was going to be fair or foul, but keeps it inside the white lines, and that's a home run for Claire Jenkins.
Jenkins' 7th home run on the season. That puts Alabama up 6-0. That's going to bring up the left fielder, Maris Schroeder. She was also a strikeout victim to Caleb Poynter. But Claire Jenkins struck out and then hit a home run, so maybe Maris Schroeder will try to do the same thing here for Alabama. Nope, ground ball right back to Poynter. She'll field it and make the throw. They're actually going to say that this ball went off of Schroeder. So the first base umpire, Anthony Small, made the call and was very adamant about it. I'm a little surprised that Schroeder ran to first base if it truly hit off of her foot.
And normally, I didn't see a change of direction there, more so off the bat. Didn't see that come off of her leg, and like you said, a lot of times if it does hit you, the hitter knows and won't run. Will try to make a scene to coerce the umpire to call it, but right there she took off running. I don't know if it actually did hit her or not.
It looked like it hit behind her foot almost, and then launched forward because of the spin. And I'm wondering if just the angle that he is at over there when it hit behind her foot, if it looked like it went off of her foot. But regardless, she goes back to the batter's box, and now the count is 3-1. Anthony Small at first base. We mentioned Brandon Bloom, the third base umpire, and Dawn Brown is behind the plate for tonight's ball game. So what might have been an out for Texas A&M is now going to end up as a runner on first base for Alabama as Maris Schroeder draws the walk.
And you'll see Coach Evans taking a trip out here to the circle, and just a momentum killer right there. You had her out on a great pitch too, and just unfortunate break right there for the Aggies, having that Maris Schroeder getting called back to home plate and then issuing a walk to her.
And it looks like we are going to have a pitching change. I saw some movement in the dugout. No, and we're going to stay right here. Caleb Poynter is going to stay in the circle. Hannah Mayo was down there in the bullpen, and she started making the move. I thought we might see the change, but Coach Joe Evans is going to leave Caleb Poynter in, and I think that's a good decision, Tori. I think that she's been struggling, and she's had, obviously a couple of big hits, but she's still got some fight in her.
Yeah, and the thing right there, Coach Evans wanted to just give her a little bit of confidence. Hey, how are you feeling? What are you going to do? This is what we're going to try to get outs right here. If you can turn it, go ahead and turn it. Just giving them a little bit more reassurance, not anything to freak out about. I know the score is 6-0, but to me this hasn't been a bad game by the Aggies, and it kind of just got away from you really quick, but this hasn't been a bad outing by Caleb Poynter either, just making quality pitches, just having a little bit of unfortunate breaks right there, but we'll see if they can turn a play right here.
Maris Schroeder is going to take second base. Danny Elder does not even make the throw down to second. That pitch was down, and I think just because of the speed of Schroeder, she knew she was not going to get her, so she did not make the throw.
And that ball was in the dirt. Maris Schroeder got a great jump on the pitch. It's tough to make a throw when the ball is in the dirt. You have to pick it out and still be on time with all your mechanics. That's a tough one.
Schroeder's 10th stolen base on the season. And it's 3 balls, no strikes to Reagan Dykes, the catcher. Dykes 0 for 1 on the day, and Caleb Poynter struggling here in the circle for Texas A&M. Dykes shows bunt, pulls back though, takes strike 1. Dykes hitting .435 on the season with runners in scoring position. Does have 4 home runs on the season. That one misses outside for ball 4. So after the home run to Claire Jenkins, Kayla Poynter has now given up back-to-back walks, and I think she's frustrated, especially after that Maris Schroeder, what we thought was going to be a ground out and turned into a walk.
And that's kind of the difference you saw in the first inning when she gave up that 3-run home run. She came back immediately with 2 strikeouts and then a ground out. Got herself out of the inning with not much damage. I mean, 3 runs is not totally terrible. I mean, that's within reach for the Aggies, and that's a tough one there.
We are going to have a pitching change. We'll be back with Texas A&M's new pitcher when we come back after this. It's going to be the freshman, number 14, Hannah Mayo, coming in for Texas A&M to the circle.
Hannah Mayo, kind of similar to Kayla Poynter in the east to west kind of situation. Has a great changeup when it's on. She fools a lot of hitters. Going to be in the lower 60s, not quite as hard as Poynter was throwing. So a little bit of an adjustment for these Alabama hitters, having to wait on the ball a little bit more. We'll see what she can do.
She's going to face Maddie Morgan. Again, runners at first and second, 1 out here in the top of the 3rd. Alabama has put up 1 in this inning. It was a solo home run by Claire Jenkins. Schroeder and Dykes both reached on walks. Hannah Mayo, a redshirt freshman, was with the program last season. Redshirted her first year, so now her first year of play. Fly ball, Fortenberry on the run. It's actually going to be Fritsch who comes across and grabs that one for out number 2.
It's a big out right there for Hannah Mayo, being able to come in, get the first hitter out, fly ball, no runners move.
Skylar Wallace, the second baseman, steps in. She was hit by a pitch during her first at-bat, takes the first pitch for a ball. Mayo 2-0 on the season. Not a ton of experience on the season, a little over 21 innings pitched. Does have 17 strikeouts, but also has 22 walks on the year, and free passes have been something of a problem for Texas A&M pitchers this year.
Been a very big problem. I think that's where a lot of the losses have stemmed from, just losing control of pitches, and then gets the defense a little fluttered, and just kind of a culmination of things, but I would say it definitely starts in the circle.
3 balls, no strikes to Wallace. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Ground ball. This one is going to be foul past a diving Bailey Klingler at first. Just to go back to those free passes to compare, coming into this ball game, Texas A&M had given up 89 walks and 20 hit by pitches, so 109 free passes on the season. Alabama only 53 walks and 10 hit batters, so 63 free passes on the year. And that just goes to show how many more freebies A&M has given away. And you mentioned it, Tori, that it flows into the rest of the game. It flows into your defense. It can become frustrating because then your offense is having to press a little bit more, trying to get more runs. And that is something that they've really, really been working on, is trying to cut down on those free passes. But there is another one. That ball just misses on the outside part of the plate for ball number 4 to Skylar Wallace. So 3 walks is why there are 3 Alabama runners on base right now.
And that was not a bad pitch. That was a great pitch for a 3-2 count and 2 outs. I thought Wallace was going to get rung up there for a second, a little hesitation, but not a bad miss at all by Mayo.
So now she'll face Alyssa Brown, the fastest hitter in this lineup. She is 1 for 1 on the day with an infield single. The nice part about pitching to Alyssa Brown right here
with bases loaded
is you've got bases loaded.
Exactly. I was just about to mention that. If she puts it on the ground, you have more options to make a play. You don't have to get her out at first. Not as much speed. Yes, there is speed on the bases, but not as much as Alyssa Brown making the play only at one bag compared to having any base to make a play that you need to.
But you have to throw a strike right here if you're Hannah Mayo. Counts 2-0 to Brown.
The biggest thing is just not wanting Kaylee Tao to come back up to bat with bases loaded again, and after walking in a run, that could be the point where this game gets out of control for the Aggies.
So 3 balls, no strikes to Brown. Bases are loaded. Here's the pitch. And that finds the strike zone for strike 1. And as you mentioned, it's not about just walking in a run. Then you've got the top of the order coming up for Alabama and still would have bases loaded. And that is just a tough, tough test for Texas A&M. Another strike by Mayo makes this count full. So 3 balls, 2 strikes to Brown. Now the runners will have a little bit of a jump here because there are 2 outs. But again, you have options at all the bases. You don't have to go to first to get Brown. Garcia's going to flip it over to third in time for the out. So a nice job by the freshman shortstop to knock that ball down, regain her composure, and flip the ball over to third for the force out. Alabama gets 1 across. They're up 6-0. Alabama is up 6-0. And here is why. Bailey Hemphill in the first with the 3-run shot to start things off for the Tide. Then it was Kaylee Tao in the second inning with the 2-run single, doing a nice job with runners in scoring position. And then Claire Jenkins in the third with the solo shot right over the left field foul marker right there. And I think the biggest storyline right here, Tori, is that Alabama is doing it throughout the lineup. It is not just one section that is getting things done for the Tide.
And not only are the top of the lineup having the power numbers and the RBIs, but it takes production from the bottom of the lineup to get on base, whether that be a hit or a walk or a hit by pitch or whatever it may be. They're getting on base, allowing runners to be in scoring position when the top of the lineup is coming up. So that's a great job by the bottom of the lineup to keep something going and not just relying on that top part.
Top of the order up for Texas A&M, Kelby Fortenberry down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fortenberry 0 for 1 on the day. The ground out to second. Junior center fielder hitting .416. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Looks like she just got a piece of it, but Dyke's able to hang on. Only the 3rd strikeout of the year for Kelby Fortenberry.
It's a tough one with Fouts just having so much speed. When she goes up in that zone, it changes the eye level of the hitter and makes it very enticing to swing at, and got Fortenberry.
Blake Ann Fritsch will step in, the left fielder for Texas A&M, takes the first ball for a strike. You know, and talking about Montana Fouts for Alabama, only a freshman, a ton of accolades that she came into college with. But talking to Coach Murphy before the game, he said, you know, one of the hardest positions to recruit is pitchers. And that's because you're really not sure what you're going to get. You can have a kid who is super successful in high school and gets to college and probably nicer words, but is a flop. And he said, we got really, really lucky that Fouts is as good as she is as a freshman.
And I think that's such a big thing with the recruiting rule changing. You can't recruit anybody until, well, you can't talk to anybody until they're juniors now, which before there was 6th graders committing to a college, and you don't know how they're going to turn out. A lot of them haven't even hit puberty yet. So, I mean, that makes it so tough as a coach to recruit these players so early. You don't know how they're going to develop. You don't know a lot of times if their work ethic is going to match that talent that they have in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Is it going to match up?
chopper. This one will be foul. And, you know, when he said she's one of the coolest kids we've had. Those are his words. She's one of the coolest kids we've had. She's one of the hardest working pitchers. There is zero ego. She's a servant leader. I mean, it was just the things he was saying is what you want someone to say about you as a senior, let alone a freshman.
Yeah, and he mentioned she does her business in a very mature way, and I think that does come from all the accolades she had in high school. She was a 3-time Gatorade Kentucky Player of the Year, and she was a 2018 All-USA Today High School Player of the Year, a 4-time USA Today All-American. So she has the experience. She knows how to play this game and carry herself in the circle. But when you get to college, it is a different game. But now she's bringing all of that into her game now and taking tips and tricks and everything from the people that are here that are upperclassmen. And she's doing a great job of producing in the circle.
Strike 3 to Blake Ann Fritsch, the second strikeout in this inning, the third strikeout in a row. So we saw Texas A&M hitters having a little bit of success against Fouts, and now it's almost like the switch is flipped.
Looks like a screwball right there, just gets a little bit elevated, and Blake Ann Fritsch swinging underneath it. Again, we talked about the speed of Fouts, just throws really hard. It makes it very hard to determine a high pitch from a pitch that's right in the zone. Changes your eye levels. You want to swing, you want to hit it hard, but those are the toughest ones to hit.
5 strikeouts on the day. She will now face Riley Sarton, who drew a walk back in the first inning. Swing and a miss for strike 1. You know, Fouts is, I guess, really the first true test was when they played Arizona earlier this season. Ground ball back to Fouts in the circle. She will make the throw in time for the third out. We'll talk more about Montana Fouts because she will be back in this ball game. But first, the Tide will come up to bat when we come back after this. They lead 6-0. Taking a look at Reed Arena, the basketball arena here on Texas A&M's campus. There was a little bit of action going on there earlier today as the Texas A&M women's basketball team is hosting the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. Marquette defeated Rice 58-54 in the first game of the day, and then the Aggies defeated Wright State 84-61. So they will face Marquette in the second round on Sunday. And this is just the time of year, Tori, where there's so much going on. You know, we're full swing into softball, but you've got March Madness, you've got women's basketball. You know, for Texas A&M, the women's team is the only one in the tournament this year. But it's still a lot of fun just to watch the men's tournament, watch the women's tournament.
Postseason is always fun.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of what sport it is, if you like the sport or not. It's just good competition. You have such great teams going up against each other. The energy is different. Everyone's so excited and a lot of nerves and just there's so many comebacks and upsets and it's just great.
Did you fill out a bracket this year?
I did not.
You know, I am not one to fill out a bracket very often, which is kind of weird because I'm a big sports fan, but I was convinced to fill a bracket out this year, and now I'm fully invested and I'm not happy because, of course, the Marquette's men's team couldn't get it together like their women's team did, and so there goes my bracket.
It's tough. I heard on the radio today it's like some huge number of odds to be able to fill out a perfect bracket.
Oh,
it was like, it
yeah,
sounded like a made-up word.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was so
It's impossible. It's impossible. But back to softball. We've got the top of the order up for the Tide. Kaylee Tao, 2 balls, no strikes. There's a strike from Hannah Mayo in the circle for Texas A&M. Mayo came in the last inning for Kayla Poynter. That one misses. So Mayo kind of having some struggles like Poynter did, trying to find that strike zone. And it's so tough to pitch to hitters as good as Alabama's hitters because you don't want to serve it right over the plate. We've seen what happens when you do. But at the same time, you've got to be able to throw strikes. It's going to be a leadoff walk for Kaylee Tao.
And for me, I'm not a pitcher, so I can't really speak on it too I can speak on it to an extent, but if it was me, I would want to go at hitters because this game is designed for them to fail. So 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to win. So if you just go at them, make them swing at it, they may not get a hit, and then you're in a better position than just letting them take first base with a free pass. So maybe that's the competitive side of me. Just go at them, make them beat you. Don't give it to them. Make them work for it.
KB Sides showing bunt. That first pitch pulls back for a ball. This time does not show bunt, but takes another pitch for ball number 2.
And the thing I think that they struggle with, the A&M pitching staff, is when they are trying to throw strikes, they throw it too fat instead of just painting the corners, just trying to hit a corner, trying to find, like, just clip the strike zone instead of going right in the middle of the strike zone like that one right there did. I mean, it's a changeup, so you're changing speeds, but you don't ever want to leave the ball too fat over the plate. Hit your corners, hit your spots. Obviously, you always want to hit your spots, but try to make more of an effort of, like, clipping the strike zone instead of getting the entire ball to stay through the strike zone on the entire pitch.
Side shows bunt again, but pulls back. Mayo changing up speeds. That one at 47 miles an hour. So another 3-1 count. Runner at first base. This one driven foul. Makes the count 3 balls, 2 strikes. And, you know, I like the point that you bring up about this is a game of failure. But when you don't even give them an option, and you know, obviously, A&M pitchers are missing not by a whole lot, but when you've got disciplined hitters like this Alabama lineup, ground ball through the 5-6 hole, that'll be a base hit for KB Sides. You know, like right there, you forced KB Sides to hit the ball, and yes, she earned a base hit, but at least you're giving your defense a chance.
And this one will go down as a base hit. She did get a lot of that ball, but it was on the outer half, not too much on the plate. Just makes a great swing there, and that's the thing. Hitters are only going to get on 3, maybe 4 times out of 10, and they're considered great. So that's 6 or 7 times that you're getting them out and giving yourself a chance, giving your team a chance, and with them not being on base. And then you don't get in this situation with 2 runners on and their most powerful hitter at the plate.
Well, and we've seen this situation. It happened in the first with Kaylee Tao at second, KB Sides at first, and Bailey Hemphill up to bat for the Tide. Texas A&M's defense is actually going to take some time to group together and talk things out. Danny Elder going out to visit her pitcher, the infield gathering up.
Just reassuring each other that if there's a ground ball, they have time for 2. Got to know your runners and the speed of all your runners. Kaylee Tao and KB Sides a little bit more speed than Bailey Hemphill, so you may have time to step on a base and throw it over to first for 2.
And Tori, I mean, this is a mirror of the first inning. A leadoff walk by Kaylee Tao, a single to the left side by KB Sides, and now you've got Bailey Hemphill up. And the first time around, she hit a 3-run shot. We'll see what she does during this at-bat. Ground ball to the left side. Sarton will step on third, make the throw to first in time. Double play Riley Sarton, and a big 2 outs for the Aggies.
And that right there is why the defense came together, because you never know what's going to happen. She just gets jammed a little bit on this pitch, gets on top, and Riley Sarton has the awareness to go ahead, field that ground ball, make sure she has the ball first, step on third, and make a great throw over to first base to get 2 outs.
KB Sides will advance to second, so a runner in scoring position, but 2 outs for the Tide. First ball driven down the left field line, but foul. As Claire Jenkins up to bat. She had a solo shot in her last at-bat back in the third, struck out in the first. And, you know, we talked about what a great defensive play that was for Riley Sarton. What about a great pitch from Hannah Mayo to get Hemphill just a basic ground ball on that pitch.
And especially to Bailey Hemphill, knowing how much power she has, just being able to get inside on her hands, not being able to get all the way around to that pitch, get her hands and hips through. So great job right there by Hannah Mayo, getting the job done and getting 2 outs for her team on 1 pitch.
Now ahead, no balls, 2 outs. So quickly, Mayo has seen this inning kind of shift gears, giving herself a chance to get out of it right here. Ground ball, foul. And that, Tori, right there is what a great defensive play can do for momentum for a team.
Any type of out or plays that you don't see very often, whether it's a diving play or a double play or a robbery at the fence, it gets your team hyped up. The team that's on defense, it gives you a little bit of hope. See a little bit of glimmering light at the end of the tunnel for the inning to be over, especially going from 0 outs to 2 outs in 1 pitch. That's huge for the Aggies, and they definitely need to take advantage of it right here and get out of this inning.
Jenkins continues to battle with 2 strikes. Here's the 0-2. Just misses up and in.
Great pitch. For an 0-2 pitch, that's exactly where you want it to be.
This one on the outside part of the plate, but Jenkins does a nice job of just getting a piece of it and really battling in there during this at-bat. Sides at second. Another foul ball by Claire Jenkins. And Tori, when you're at bat with 2 outs and you're kind of continuously getting a piece of it, mentally, what's going through your mind?
I'm just waiting to get one in the zone that I know I can handle and get a barrel on, hit it hard somewhere. If I need to keep fouling pitches off like Claire Jenkins is doing right here, then I will until I can get one that I know I can hit it hard. I don't want to sacrifice just like a ground ball whenever I know I could just foul it off. But a lot of that is just having body awareness, back control, and the awareness just to know if you can handle it or not. You know your strengths and weaknesses as a hitter.
Another foul ball by Jenkins. So Hannah Mayo doing a nice job of kind of putting it in and out. You mentioned she works east to west. We've seen a little bit of a rise ball, but more than anything, just trying to paint those corners. And Jenkins doing a nice job of fouling these pitches off and staying alive with 2 strikes. Rise ball up and in. 59 miles an hour, just misses. So 2 balls, 2 strikes. Beautiful sunset behind Davis Diamond. There's that off-speed pitch, but Jenkins recognizes it and fouls it off to the left side. And on the flip side, I know you didn't pitch, and we've talked about how we can't necessarily speak for pitchers, but as a pitcher, how frustrating is it right here that you're hitting your spots, you're doing what you need to do, and this hitter will not go away?
It is frustrating because you're making good pitches and you're having to throw so many pitches. I think that's the biggest thing, and they keep fouling it off. I'm sure she wants an out right here.
Jenkins has now worked this to a full count, so 3 balls, 2 strikes. KB side still sitting at second in scoring position. Here's the 3-2. Lifted into left field. Fritsch is going back right in front of the warning track. She's under it and will make the catch for out number 3. So Alabama threatened, but a big double play And then a fly out to end the inning. Texas A&M comes up to bat when we come back. The third-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide with a 6-0 lead headed into the bottom of the fourth as Texas A&M trying to get anything across here and maybe get something going. But a lot of that has had to do with Montana Fouts in the circle for the Tide.
Montana Fouts just being so effective. She does have 2 walks on the day, but with her strikeout numbers, you don't even care to look at the walks. She's been using all of her pitches and throwing very hard, allowing herself to change levels of the hitter's eyes, which makes it extremely hard to determine what's going to be a ball, what's going to be a strike. It makes it you want to swing even more when the ball's coming at your face. It looks like it's going to be easier to hit, but in fact, it is much harder to hit when it is rising up through the zone. So we'll see if A&M hitters can make an adjustment here.
Yeah, 5 strikeouts on the day for Fouts. She will now have to face one of the hottest hitters in SEC play, Bailey Klingler. She leads Texas A&M's team in conference play, hitting .500 coming into this game. 2 home runs and 7 RBI in the first 2 weekends of SEC play. Klingler reached on an error in the first inning, hit a pretty hard shot right at Maddie Morgan at third base, and it got under Morgan's glove, trickled into left field. And Klingler has had a hit in every SEC game so far this season. Trying to see if she can keep that streak alive. 2 balls, no strikes. And that one misses low. A leadoff walk for Bailey Klingler on 4 straight pitches. So the third walk by Fouts on the day. And Tori mentioned it earlier, came into this ball game with only 11 walks on the season. So I don't know if you want to call it control issues or if she's just trying to be a little too cute around the plate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying when you say that, and I think she's trying to kind of pick around the zone instead of trying to go right at the hitters. And I think someone with the speed that she has, she can afford to go at the hitters and put it in the strike zone and not necessarily make it fat, but get it a little bit more in the strike zone. So right now she's probably just missing the bottom or the top of the strike zone, whereas she can afford maybe a couple more inches up or down to make it look a little bit nicer for that umpire back there.
Pinch running over at first base for Bailey Klingler is going to be the freshman, number 12, Maddie Yatzlaw. Typically has been the first off the bench in pinch running situations this year for Texas A&M. Haley Lee up to bat. Took the first pitch for a ball. Did have a check swing, but they said she didn't go. Did definitely go on that one. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Big swing there.
Haley Lee is not one to get cheated on a swing, and we saw her power earlier. It ended up being a foul ball, but absolutely crushed a ball down the left field line. Ended up with a strikeout in that at-bat, however. Quick throw down to first. Yatzlaw dives in back safely. Reagan Dykes behind the plate for Alabama. She's caught 5 runners stealing this season and is second all-time at Alabama with 41 career runners caught stealing. So a very strong arm behind the plate, and I can't imagine Yatzlaw going anywhere right now.
I know none of those runners caught stealing was me. We can say that.
Because you didn't try?
Exactly. You can't fail if you don't try, right?
That's the attitude.
I was not a speedster. I knew what my place was.
Swing and a miss, strike 3 to Haley Lee. So after the leadoff walk, Fouts really kind of settles back down and gets the strikeout. Lee's second strikeout of the day.
And this pitch just down in the zone. Looks like a drop ball there on the inside half. And Haley Lee just swinging right over the top of it. doesn't get a piece of it. Out number 1 for Alabama.
Let's bring up the catcher, Danny Elder, 0 for 1 on the day, another strikeout victim. First pitch misses up. Elder hitting .250 on the season.
Started to break out in that first Auburn game last weekend, had 2 hits. Coach Evans gave her the start, and she showed up in that moment, and since then she's been in the lineup pretty consistently and trying to work her way in there and really show up for the team.
And I think that's big for these Texas A&M players. When they get the opportunity to start, when they get the chance to maybe come in a pinch hit situation, making the most of that opportunity, because that's what Coach Evans is looking for right now. I mean, yes, they've got a somewhat set starting lineup, but, we've seen the changes made this year. And so anytime there's a change and you're the player getting that opportunity, it's about making the most of things. A swing that she did not look like she wanted to make. Kind of decided right at the last second that was a mistake.
And I think it's really important to note, too, for these A&M players is not only showing up when you get put in once or maybe twice, but consistently showing up. If you're making your way into the lineup, you have to make yourself unbeatable. Do something good every single game. That way she doesn't have a choice.
There's a base hit for Danny Elder. Past a diving Jenkins over at short. And Texas A&M runners at first and second with 1 out.
Danny Elder, that same pitch that she got Haley Lee on, bounce just goes down and in, and Elder is able to get her hands and her hips through and drive that ball through the 5-6 hole and breaks up the no-hitter.
Now the first hit of the ball game for Texas A&M coming from Danny Elder. And that's going to bring up the second baseman, Kelly Martinez.
And that's huge right there for Elder, because not only did she get a hit in the first couple games in the Auburn series when Coach Evans gave her that opportunity, but she's still continuing to show up now, even after she's gotten a couple of starts. And I think that's why there's been so many question marks in the A&M lineup, is because you do one good thing and you think, oh, okay, I'm good. You don't have that sense of urgency as you would when it's maybe your first game, your second game. When you've had a little bit more experience, a little bit more playing time, it's easy to kind of fall off and get distracted and not as hype per se. Like, people are always more excited for the first game of the season or the first game of SEC or your first start, but you have to be excited every single start. You can't just let it fall off as the season continues to roll on.
A quick huddle from Alabama. They're back and set to play. 2 balls, no strikes now to Kelly Martinez. Yatzlaw, the pinch runner, over at second. Danny Elder at first.
Yatzlaw, a lot of speed. Just needs something maybe in the grass. Score one right here.
And now we are going to see a visit from the pitching coach. That is Stephanie Van Brakel, pro throw.
What a cool name as a pitcher, pro throw. I'm a pro thrower.
And
get it?
If you it took me a second because my mind was somewhere else. But that was a pretty good one. Yeah, I like that one. She was Stephanie Van Brakel when she played for Pat Murphy at Alabama. But yes, pro throw, her new last name. In her 8th season with the Tide, and obviously has done a great job with their pitching staff in recent years. But this year to be able to bring, we talk about Montana Fouts and how much success she's had, and that has a lot to do with your coaching staff and with mentorship as well. And Coach Prothrow definitely is a big reason behind that.
And a lot of times you don't realize this, but the coaches you pick are just as important as the school and the team you pick, because in the end, they're the ones going to be developing you. And she's been doing a great job of developing pitchers coming through Alabama, that's for sure.
Here's the 3-0 pitch. And ball 4. So after the coaches meeting in the circle, another ball is thrown, and Texas A&M has got the bases loaded here in the bottom of the 4th. And we're going to have a pinch hit situation here for Texas A&M. Instead of Kayla Garcia, it's going to be number 5, the junior, Peyton McBride.
I think this is a good decision right here. Kayla Garcia not having much experience in college softball at all. She only has, this is only her second start on the year, and this is a big situation. And Peyton McBride, not a ton of experience at the plate, but has been doing really great this season and has been seeing the ball pretty well. And she does have a more experience in these type of pressure situations and also a little bit more pop in her bat. So I think this is a great decision by Coach Joe Evans to try to get some runs up on the board.
McBride hitting .328 on the season. And a big number right here, hitting .500 with the bases loaded. And this is an opportunity that I think if you're Texas A&M, you cannot let this opportunity pass you up.
2 walks and a base hit, you have to score on this.
That pitch misses low. So 5 balls in a row from the freshman in the circle for Alabama.
Anytime you have a leadoff walk, you have to capitalize on it. You have to get that runner across home plate, especially when you're down 6 runs. You need these runs right here to make a game.
There's a strike from Fouts. Makes the count 2 balls, 1 strike. Yatzlaw at third, Elder at second, Martinez at first for the Aggies. And although Fouts is obviously struggling a little bit here, credit to Peyton McBride for being so disciplined at the plate. As a pinch hitter, you've got to be a little anxious coming into a situation like this.
You are anxious, and not only are you anxious, but you're cold. You're off the bench, and you can get really excited. And
ground ball. They're going to flip it over to first to get the guaranteed out, but 1 run does score. Texas A&M is on the board.
And that right there is a pivotal moment. You see Peyton McBride just getting on top of this low pitch. And this right here is situational hitting. You have a ground ball to the second baseman. Wallace tries to make contact right there. You'll see her kind of making a little bit of a curvy route to the ball. She's trying to make contact with Martinez to try to induce that dead ball, no runner would score situation. But situational hitting right there. But if I'm A&M, I'm looking at the dugout right now, and they don't seem to be very pumped up, and that's a huge situation right there. Bases loaded, and with now you have 2 outs, and you scored a run. You just broke open, hopefully, the seal, and they don't look very excited. They don't look very hyped, and for me, that would fire me up. I'm ready to go. I want to be the next person up at the plate, and they just don't seem very, very energetic about that score, that run right there that Peyton McBride was able to get in.
Well, another pinch hitter here for Texas A&M. It's going to be the sophomore, number 24, Abby Smith. Smith, 3 home runs on the season. So for someone who is pretty much only hitting in pinch hitting situations, she puts up some great numbers in these clutch situations.
And Abby Smith just taking some big swings, taking advantage of the opportunity that she has. If she's getting in the box, she's going to take a big swing, and I think that's why we have seen so many pinch hit home runs from her, is because she's not afraid to get in there and swing the bat really hard.
Fouts working ahead here, though. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Smith hitting .300 with runners in scoring position. She's got 2 of them out there now. Ground ball foul. And again, if you're Texas A&M, you've done a nice job of getting that first one across, but this is still a big opportunity. 2 runners in scoring position. Yes, you've got 2 outs, but if you can continue to cut into this Alabama lead, it really kind of sets you up, sets the tone for the rest of that game.
And the first one is oftentimes the hardest one to get, so if they can break something open right here, that'd be ideal for the Aggies.
Swing and a miss, way up out of the zone. Fouts gets her chasing after that one. Alabama with the 6-1 lead as Texas A&M was able to get on the scoreboard in the fourth. We're headed to the fifth. Stay tuned. You're watching SEC Softball. Welcome back to College Station, Texas. A beautiful evening here. But tomorrow at 6 Eastern, 5 Central, we'll have the second game of a big 3-game series between number 18 Arkansas and number 5 Tennessee at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium in Knoxville. SEC Softball is also available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. Right now, it's a big matchup here at Davis Diamond. Texas A&M able to get one across in that last inning. What kind of confidence, if any, does that give Hannah Mayo here in the circle?
I think it gives a little bit more confidence knowing that her hitters can go in and score on Fouts. And I think the biggest thing for confidence would be a 1-2-3 inning right here.
And it's going to start off with a big hit by Maris Schroeder at the wall. That's going to bounce and go over. So a solo shot by Maris Schroeder to start things back here in the top of the fifth.
And that's a tough break right there, as we just talked about the importance of getting a 1-2-3 inning. But Cindy out there, this pitch first off, up in the zone, Maris Schroeder just getting her barrel to the ball and getting extended through the ball, which is very, very beautiful swing right there. And you see Cindy kind of drifting back. She's on the fence. Just looks like she doesn't have a good read on the ball. She's kind of searching for the fence, then searching for the ball. She needs to have a better understanding of where the wall is at and going straight to the wall and going to catch that ball. With it bouncing off the top of the fence, I think she had a chance there to catch that, even though she is a little bit short. But, hey, that's the play that you see on ESPN that you dream about as an outfielder, is robbing a home run, and that was your chance right there.
That's going to bring up Reagan Dykes. And something interesting that Coach Murphy talked to us about before this game was Alabama's ability to answer back. So when another team scores, what they can do the next inning. And I'm going to give credit real quick to the Alabama home radio guys, because we talked to them before the game, and they had really interesting stat. Dykes grounds over to third, starting with the throw in time for the first out. But in 32 innings that opponents have scored against Alabama, Alabama has scored afterwards. They've answered back in 21 of those 32 innings. And in 15 of those, it's been equal to or greater than. So in this instance, A&M scored one, and now Alabama has scored one. So now in 22 of 33 innings, they have done that. And just the ability to say, you know, hey, tip our hats to you for scoring that run, but we're going to answer back. And that's really been a big key to Alabama's success.
And that's a huge stat. If you just think about how many times
Kelby Fortenberry dives for this one. It's going to get past her. Maddie Morgan rounding second. She'll try for third. Here comes the throw. No, Kayla Garcia will hold on to it. So a little bit of a mistake out there by Kelby Fortenberry as she tried to snag that one in the air.
And that's tough. I mean, this ball is hit very well on a line, and Kelby Fortenberry takes a dive at this ball, but notice how the ball is still low and below the fence line, going straight at you right on. Those are not the balls you want to dive for, especially when you're down and you know that you do not want any more runners in scoring position. This ball needs to be straight up and down if you're going to try to dive after it, because those are the ones you can get your glove under that will fall into your glove instead of diving straight at it and having a very low chance of catching it. So I don't like that decision right there to dive, but understanding you want to be aggressive, you want to try to catch everything, but you have to know when to dive and when not to.
For those of you scoring at home, it was ruled a triple by Maddie Morgan. So Morgan sitting at third, Skylar Wallace up to bat for Alabama. This one lifted into center, right at Fortenberry. She'll make the catch. Morgan tags. Here comes the throw. And they're going to call Maddie Morgan safe. Elder unable to hang on to the ball, and it looks like the umpire had the obstruction call out anyway. So whether Elder had caught that ball or not, that is going to be a run by Maddie Morgan, a sac fly for Skylar Wallace.
Just situational hitting right there at its finest. And you'll see Danny Elder backing up into the baseline. She needs to be out in front of that plate to receive this throw. And the obstruction rules have changed a little bit over the last couple of years. And we see a fair bunt, barely, as Alyssa Brown legs that one out to first base.
Yeah, this ball just barely came up off of her bat. It was so soft, and Elder, I think, thought it was going to roll foul.
Yeah, you'll see she makes this ball deaden. A little bit of a backspin, so it rolls backwards. Danny Elder actually moves forward. She thinks that it's going to go out, and then you'll see it rolls back into it. She kind of pauses to see if it's going to roll any more into foul territory, but by that time, Alyssa Brown is already well on her way, probably to second base.
And here she goes on her way to second. It's going to get past Garcia, so now she's going to turn for third. A good throw by Fortenberry, but not in time. So the speed of Alyssa Brown making things happen out there for Alabama.
And that's just a tough break right there. Not a terrible throw, but takes Garcia up the line towards first base. And ideally, you want the ball to be right at second base. In a perfect world that we would live in, it would go straight to the bag, and the shortstop wouldn't have to move their glove to make that tag. But things do happen. They are people too, you know, things happen. But this ball gets out to the outfield, and Alyssa Brown automatically knows that she's going to third. Regardless, if it gets past anybody, she's going to third. She knows she's fast enough to do that.
So that's going to be Brown's 22nd stolen base on the season.
And now,
and actually,
she is the
23rd because she had a stolen base earlier in this ball game. So 23 stolen bases on the year for Brown. They ruled it a throwing error by Elder, which is how she advanced to third. And you're correct. She is the run rule run over there at third. Obviously, Texas A&M will have the opportunity to hit in the bottom of the fifth, but this is a big run for Alabama if they can get Alyssa Brown home. It's the top of the order. Kaylee Tao up to bat. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 outs. Off-speed pitch just misses low. I like that pitch right there by Mayo, yeah.
It's a great location.
And it's just tough that you don't get that call. And it is. It's low in the zone, right at the knees. Here's the 3-1 to Tao. Kind of a check swing. Gets a pretty good piece of it. It's foul down the left field line. Alyssa Brown kind of had to wake me up right there.
Very dangerous right there, especially with the right-handed power hitter. That's when it's
when they pull
scary.
it. Mm-hmm. So like when you were up to bat and someone was at third.
I've had a lot of people tell me that they were very nervous.
Here's the 3-2 to Tao. Misses inside, so Tao will draw the walk. That is her 3rd walk of the day. She came into this game leading the country in walks, and now you see why. Such a disciplined hitter.
Not only does she have the highest average, but she also has the most walks. So, I mean, to me, that's impressive because not only are you hitting for average, but you're being disciplined and seeing balls and seeing a lot of pitches and counts and not just swinging at anything and making it happen. You're waiting for your pitch. Shows a lot of discipline and maturity at the plate.
Runners at first and third. Coach Joe Evans is going to call time right here to come out and talk to the team. And you know, you typically see this in first and third situations and just, you know, with a little bit of a long inning right here, just kind of trying to settle them down. Taking a look at the offensive summary for the Tide tonight. 8 runs, 3 home runs. They've had 4 stolen bases. They're 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Maybe a number even Coach Murphy might want to be a little bit better, but you look at those 3 home runs, and that's just super impressive.
And only one of those home runs was a solo. So when you have runners on and people are one swing of the bat and you have 2-3 runs up on the board, can easily make up for the lower number in the running and scoring position column right there.
KB Sides up to bat, 2 for 3 on the day with 2 hits. Just gets a piece of this one, fouls it back to the screen. This one ripped into right field. Cindy on the run. She'll make the catch. A huge catch by the freshman right fielder to keep another run from scoring for Alabama. But the Tide is up 8-1. The Aggies are up to bat when we come back. Welcome back to Davis Diamond in College Station, Texas. Third-ranked team in the country, Alabama, with the 8-1 lead over the home team right now. But the top of the order up for the Aggies. Kelby Fortenberry, 0 for 2 on the day with a strikeout.
Something that's kind of interesting, this is actually her third time to lead off this game. Normally it doesn't fall that way, but
a true leadoff hitter this game.
True leadoff hitter.
Right back up the middle for a base hit. And Fortenberry, you could almost feel that she was due. This is the hottest hitter in A&M's lineup. She had gone through the first couple of times, not great at bats, but right here she gets it done, Tori.
Just takes the ball right back up the middle. It actually bounces off the pitching rubber right there. Makes it hop quite a bit, but gets a good barrel on that one and just keeps it simple. Right now, you know you're not going to win the game with a big swing, and Fortenberry does have that power, but just got to take it one run at a time.
Fritz shows bunt, pulls back, but it is called a strike. Fouls this one off, so no balls, 2 strikes. And, you know, I think this second hole position for Texas A&M's lineup is still kind of a question mark. And a lot of that is because have they found anyone who can lay down that sac bunt yet?
It's hard because Blake Ann Fritch did a great job last weekend in this 2-hole position and getting it done.
Well, she gets it done right there, drives one into the gap. Fortenberry will round third. Will they send her? Yes, they will. Jenkins won't make the throw. And an RBI double for Blake Ann Fritch. Texas A&M gets another one on the board.
Redemption at its finest. Fritch is not able to lay down that bunt right there, but makes up for it. A pitch up in the zone on the outer half, just does a great job of taking her hands to it and staying through it right over a jumping Claire Jenkins. And Kelby Fortenberry reads Coach Evans waving her through, and not even a throw, just a lot of speed from Fortenberry, and a great job by Blake Ann Fritch to capitalize on an 0-2 count after not getting that bunt down. And that right there was why I was about to say Blake Ann Fritch did a great job last weekend at Auburn in that 2-hole, got her first career home run, was able to lay down a couple bunts, advance the runners, and even though she didn't get the bunt down, she still took advantage of that opportunity that she had and just hits a double. She's turning into a different player, power hitter. Where's she at?
Well, and that's what I was going to say. The defense, did you see how sucked in the defense was? Because typically you see a slapper come up and everybody sucks in.
They didn't see that home run last weekend, I guess.
They didn't scout the home run against Auburn, but, you know, you had, not only was Jenkins way in on the infield, but both Brown and Schroeder were in, because that ball typically, I mean, it would probably still get through the gap. I don't know, Schroeder might have been able to cut that off otherwise, but because of where they were playing, they had no chance. Riley Sarton steps in, takes that off-speed pitch for a strike, so now they count 1 ball, 2 strikes. Sarton 0 for 1 on the day, did draw a walk back in the first. Sarton hitting .458 on the season with runners in scoring position. But it's going to be a strikeout for Fouts for the first out of the inning. And Tori, I think when pitchers do have success against a hitter like Riley Sarton, it truly starts from the first pitch of the sequence as a whole.
And people don't realize this, but the sequence is so much important than the strikeout pitch, because you're setting up a hitter, and in an at-bat, it's a game within a game. You're competing against the pitcher. It's like a chess match. Is she going to throw me inside? Okay, well, last at-bat, she threw me inside, and I got a good piece on it, but last series we played them last year, I had 3 home runs on the outer half, so they don't want to pitch me on the outer half. So there's so many details that go into scouting and just how to pitch to a hitter. And same thing with a pitcher. You're thinking, okay, well, she throws a curveball in a 2-0 count or a changeup in a 3-2 count. And there's so many different moving pieces, which is why this game is so incredible. And there's so many little things that you don't understand if you're not in it and you don't face it every day.
Klingler with a shot down the right field line, but that goes foul to even the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yeah, and I brought that up because watching Sarton during that at-bat, I mean, it just looked like Fouts had complete control over what she wanted to throw, where she wanted to throw it, and then ultimately getting Sarton on that rise ball, Sarton swinging at something out of the zone. And, again, it was just all of the pitches that came before that pitch that set it up. This one launched into left field, but that is going to tail foul. So 2 very hard-hit foul balls by Bailey Klingler in opposite directions.
And that's just letting the ball travel in the zone. The hard hit ball to right field, letting it travel, get deep into the zone and being able to stay connected. And then the one to left field, getting your hands and hips through, which is hard to do back to back because they're completely different swings and mechanics. And
there's the off speed though by Fouts and got her swinging. So 2 big strikeouts in a row for the freshman in the circle, getting both Sarton and Klingler in the last 2 at-bats.
And this pitch right here, down in the zone, what we want to see from a pitcher that's throwing an off-speed pitch. And the thing about Klingler is, we talked about it, 2 hard foul balls, takes it away, and then brings it back into her kitchen inside. So she's already ahead of this changeup, if she realizes it or not. She's ahead because she just swung at that fastball that was inside, so she has to get her hands and hips through. But on the changeup, her hands and her hips are already gone, and the ball's not to her yet. So she's so far ahead, doesn't have any room to adjust to that slow pitch.
That was Fouts' 9th strikeout on the day. She is at 105 for the season, so has surpassed that 100K mark already on the year. 2 of them coming tonight right here to Haley Lee. Big swing and a miss there by Lee. And she's been taking some really big hacks tonight, but has just been unable to find that ball. Blake Ann Fritsch still sitting over there at second base for A&M. Check swing. She's able to hold back. It's a great pitch right there by Fouts because Lee's been chasing that one all night.
I was going to say earlier, Haley Lee loves rise balls. Her old select coach actually told me, I think over 3/4 of her home runs in high school were off of rise balls.
Strikeout number 3 for Lee. It's strikeout number 10 for Montana Fouts. It's been an impressive outing so far for the freshman. Alabama leads this ball game 8-2. We're going into the 6th. Alabama up 8-2. The Tide has 9 hits to Texas A&M's 3 as we head into the top of the 6th inning. But tough competitors is no stranger for Texas A&M, Tori. The grind of their schedule this year has just been tremendous.
And you just take a look at this right here, all of those teams ranked in the top 20. So that just goes to show how difficult of a schedule A&M has been playing. And although their record may not tell the whole story, they still have the number 1 hardest remaining strength of schedule left for the rest of the season.
Right. When we talked to Coach Evans before the game, she said as soon as we enter SEC play, our schedule becomes the toughest in the country. I think Kentucky's ranks second. So, of course, it makes a little bit of sense that 2 SEC teams have that. And, you know, the SEC across the board, one of the toughest conferences in the country, if not the. I mean, Pac-12 might argue. But it's amazing the amount of talent and the focus that you have to have throughout the entire season.
And especially when you get to conference, it's every single weekend.
There is no breathing time.
None.
There's no breathing time.
Except your bye weekend. And even then, you're still playing.
Right. Bailey Hempill up to bat for Alabama. 3 balls and 1 strike. And she will draw the lead-off walk for the Tide. Well, Tori, going back to your playing days, I mean, you were in it. This is something you experienced week in and week out. You understand the strength of the schedule and the strength of the conference. What kind of attitude do you have to take going into a team that you know on paper is better than your team?
And when I think about that scenario, I just think back to my freshman year. We had like 4 or 5 starting freshmen, no experience in the SEC, and we played. This was the year that Florida won the the national championship. They had like Lauren Hager, and then you had LSU, who had Carly Hoover, Allie Waljasper, very dominant pitchers. We played Auburn with Emily Carasoni and Casey Cooper and Kaylee Carlson, and then we also played Alabama. They had people like Haley McClenny, Demi Turner, Alexis Osorio. So we every single weekend we were preparing for a war, basically. It felt like it, at least. And you had no breathing room. As soon as you either win or lose a series, it doesn't matter. On the next Monday or Tuesday, whenever you start practice, you're immediately prepping for that next series. You don't have any room to breathe or think about it.
Jenkins lays the bunt down. Martinez just in time gets over to second to take Riley Sarton's throw. But a sac bunt for Claire Jenkins. Pinch running for Bailey Hempill. It is the freshman number 6, Chloe Anderson. So Anderson advances to second on that play. Anderson, the freshman from Candler, North Carolina. Mara Schroeder steps in, takes the first pitch for a ball. And, you know, going back to what you said about there's not a lot of time to think about the loss, but there's not a lot of time to celebrate a win either when you're in conference play. A strong throw by Danny Elder down to second, trying to catch Chloe Anderson off the base. And Martinez couldn't handle it, but kind of showing the strength of her arm right there.
And just to answer your question, you don't really have time to celebrate a win until the end of the season, when postseason starts coming around and rankings start coming out. Then people are like, oh, yeah, remember that one time Alabama beat Florida, number 1 ranked team, or whatever, whoever it is. Those wins do matter at the end of the day. It may not feel as big of a deal in the moment because you're already preparing for that next team. But whenever the committee is talking about where they're going to rank you, where you're going to go, are you going to host, are you going to go somewhere and play, it does matter. And those wins are huge when it comes to RPI.
And that's why Texas A&M's one win against LSU this season was such a big win.
It's a very big win. And when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, especially once you get to the end of the season, obviously the record will be a lot different then, but that will be a factor. Like, oh, hey, they squeezed one by from LSU compared to someone who may get swept by LSU later in the season. That could be the difference maker in hosting a regional or not hosting a regional, going somewhere being a 2 seed or going somewhere and being a 3 seed. So those little details and those single game wins do matter. Even if you lose the series, just getting one is so much better than getting swept.
Here's the 3-2 pitch to Schroeder. She's going to foul this one back into the stands. Ground ball, chopped to the right side, foul. Tadria Cini scoops it up to get it back in, going back because it ended the inning. But Tori, you talked about that catch that Cini had to end the 5th inning, and right field has been a little bit of a question mark. It's one of those spots that we've seen a few different players in, and you said it, I don't know if anyone else could have made that catch.
And that just goes to show how fast Cini is. She took a great route to that ball. That ball was in the corner, would have probably hit maybe 6 inches to the left of the foul pole line or the fair ball line. And so that's a long way to run with where she's positioned. I'm just like thinking about it in my head. I don't think I would have been able to do that. Like,
no,
that's far. Well, obviously I play infield, so
no. But
it's not much,
but not even your average right fielder makes that play.
That's a long way to run, and took a great. She had a great read on the ball and just a great catch in a big situation.
Schroeder did draw the walk, so Reagan Dykes will now be up with runners at first and second. First pitch from Mayo is a strike. Dykes 0 for 2 on the night. Did have a walk back in the 3rd inning. And just misses on the outside part of the plate.
It's a good spot for that curve ball.
Hannah Mayo entered the game back in the 3rd inning. Kayla Poynter got the start tonight for the Aggies. And really, for Mayo, when you take a look at it, that home run she gave up to Maris Schroeder, probably one of just the biggest things the biggest mistakes that she made. This one ripped down the left field line. Anderson will hold at 3rd, so no runs score, but a rocket of a base hit right there by Reagan Dykes.
Just an absolute shot. Riley Sarton didn't even have time to shuffle her feet to get behind the ball. Got up and in, got her elbow up and her glove to her side. That's a hard hit ball.
And Riley Sarton is one of the quickest, most reflexive defensive players, I think, in the college game right now. And so if a ball gets by her like that, you know that it is moving a mile a minute.
Coach Evans just going to take a visit right here, talk to her defense about what's going on, what their runners are doing, probably what Maddie Morgan did last time up at the plate, just to have an idea of what's most likely going to happen, where can they find an out, speed of the runners, who's quickest, who's not so fast, that where they can maybe try to find 2. Just trying to reassure her defenders right here that just get outs. That's all we need right now is outs. Outs over making that spectacular play that may or may not happen. Just be sure of something.
Yeah, as you said, Maddie Morgan up to bat. She had that triple back in the 5th inning, which really could have been a single if Kelby Fortenberry had played it a little bit smarter, but she dove for it. It gets past her, and Morgan gets all the way to 3rd. Now you've got runners on all the bases, and so you've got to be really careful here with any of these hitters, but especially right now after that great hit by Maddie Morgan in the last inning. Mayo 5 hits given up on the night, 5 walks. Does not have a strikeout yet. First pitch to Morgan does catch the outside part of the plate for strike 1. Maddie Morgan hitting .333 with bases loaded this year. The pinch runner, Chloe Anderson at 3rd. Schroeder at 2nd, Dykes at 1st. This one fisted into right field. That one will fall. Anderson will score. Here comes Schroeder. The throw is not in time. And a 2-run single for Maddie Morgan puts Alabama up 10-2.
And this is almost identical to Kaylee Tao's hit earlier. Just fisted it right over Kelly Martinez's head. Drops it in no man's land behind first base. And a strong throw right there by Cini, but just not in time. Alabama will go up by 8.
Alabama up by 8. So Texas A&M obviously will get to hit in the bottom of the 6th, but the run rule is in effect. 8 runs after 5. So that is a big 2 runs right there for the Tide, and they still only have 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Skylar Wallace up to bat, 0 for 1 on the day, does have a sac fly. Foul ball down the right field line. Alabama has run ruled 9 other opponents so far on the season. Two of those run rule victories coming last weekend. Bama got to spend spring break in Hawaii. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little jealous.
I am jealous, but I was also very curious to see how their body would adjust to the time. Not that it's a huge time difference, but I believe Alabama is Eastern time. Are they past that line? I think they may be.
I am not going to confirm or deny.
Actually, no, they're Central time. But
still a big difference going out there to Hawaii.
It is a big difference.
Yeah.
I think it's 3 hours, maybe 4, maybe 5. More.
You're asking me a lot of geography that I don't know. This ball lifted out into left center. It's going back. It is gone. A 3-run home run for Skylar Wallace. And Alabama just keeps putting the runs up on the scoreboard tonight.
And just a great swing with 2 strikes. Skylar Wallace takes a pitch on the outside half. I love the way she stays connected right there and gets some great extension, takes her hands through the ball instead of pulling off towards right field, stays on that ball, gets good extension, and that one goes over the fence, and she has a 3-run home run under her belt.
When we talked to Coach Murphy before the game, I asked him, what are some similarities of this team with some of the other great teams you've had in the past? And he said the ability, well, he said maybe not similarities, this was almost a difference. He said the ability to go up and down the lineup without any holes. He goes, I've had some teams where, the leadoff hitter is great and will go 3 for 4, and the third hole hitter will go 3 for 4, but because people aren't hitting behind them or in front of them, there's not as much production. What I have seen tonight is exactly what he said. From top to bottom, we have seen so many big hits. This ball straight back. Tori's got her hands out, but it's going to fall just a little short.
So close.
Right in front of us. You didn't even bring your glove.
I don't need it.
Oh, okay. Bare hands. Bare hands.
I don't know. I cut my hand open.
I believe in you.
May not be able to catch it.
This is a pinch runner right here for pinch hitter for Alabama. It's going to be number 34, Caroline Hardy. She'll pinch hit for Alyssa Brown in the 9 spot. Hitting .205, does have 5 home runs on the season. But we were talking before the home run by Wallace. Alabama did spend last weekend out in Hawaii at the Wahine Classic, went a perfect 6-0 out there. This one ripped into left field, but Blake Ann Fritsch with the snag. A nice catch right there by the junior left fielder.
And that's a great job by Fritsch to stay with that ball. It was slicing away from her towards the left field fence and has to keep her momentum going so she can actually catch that ball. And you'll see it starts to slice, and Blake Ann Fritsch has to reach out pretty far to get that ball and keep her momentum going as the ball will take her that way. But just a great catch for 2 outs.
there is a lot of room in this ballpark to make plays down the line, and including in foul territory. And I know that ball, not sure exactly where it would have landed, but it gives the outfielders a little bit more confidence to chase those balls at full speed. And you see a lot more defensive plays I think, down the right field line and the left field line in this ballpark.
And I think, too, just having that space and it being farther back, it gives you, like you said, room to run full speed instead of kind of 60, 70% on a ball that maybe you could catch if you had room, or compared to diving or sliding and not making a catch.
Yeah.
So that can be a big difference, especially in the outfield. When you have speedy people out there, you want them to use that speed and catch those balls that are up in the air for too long.
3 balls and no strikes to the top of the order. Kaylee Tao swings on this one, fouls that one off into the stands. A little surprised she swung right there with 3 balls, no strikes, but I think Tao's tired of being walked. She's already walked 3 times this game.
I'd be tired of getting walked. You just swing it. Put a barrel on something.
That's what she did. She's trying. Oh, the babies are okay. Foul ball, but Dad, I think, protected. Making sure we got coverage of all the little ones.
Someone get him a hard hat.
Yeah. This one lifted out into left field. Fritsch has got a beat on it, and she will get under it and make the catch for out number 3. But not before Alabama scores 5 runs here in the 6th. Some big hits up and down the lineup for the Tide. A&M will look to answer when we come back. Welcome back to College Station. We're here at Davis Diamond. Alabama with the commanding 13-2 lead going here into the bottom of the 6th. Taking a look at our pitchers tonight, Montana Fouts, the freshman in the circle for Alabama. Tori has just been lights out. She's given up 3 hits, 4 walks, which is a little uncharacteristic, but 10 strikeouts on the night.
And I think anytime your strikeout ratio to the walk ratio and the strikeouts are much higher, that's a good night for you to just be able to sit hitters down and then not give them a chance to get on base. But those 4 walks, she definitely made up for it with those 10 strikeouts.
And then for Texas A&M, Hannah Mayo, 3 2/3 innings. Obviously has struggled a little bit. These Alabama hitters have just been so good tonight. And we talked about Fouts. We're actually going to see a pitching change here in the 6th. So Fouts will wrap up her night. Again, a very successful night for the freshman. It's going to be number 21, Courtney Gettins, the senior out of Hastings, New Zealand.
New Zealand, far away from home.
Very, very far away from home. Spent some time at Florida Southwestern Junior College. Also spent some time at Iona College in New Zealand before making her way to Tuscaloosa.
Going to see a lot of ground ball outs. It's usually her skill set. Throws a lot of low in the zone, induces a lot of ground ball outs with that drop ball of hers, but does have a very good changeup as well.
She's going to start things off against Danny Elder, the catcher for Texas A&M. Elder 1 for 2 on the night. There's that low pitch you just mentioned, Tori. That one bounces in. Called strike. Brings the count to 1 ball, 2 strikes. Elder, Martinez, and Garcia up to bat for Texas A&M. And they've got some runs to score if they want to keep from getting run ruled here tonight. This one fouled off down the left field line.
Through the legs of Coach Joe Evans down there.
She's not one to really get down there and try to field that with her bare hands. She knows better.
I wouldn't either. Man, some of those balls
every
come
once
off
in a while
the,
you see a
bat
coach, you know.
hot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This one ripped out into left field. Goodbye for Danny Elder. Solo shot, her first one ever.
Such a huge moment for Danny Elder Just taking this ball yard on the inside half. It's such a huge moment right here, knowing that they have to score runs to not have this run rule go into effect. And I love seeing first career home runs. So such a special moment, especially wearing the uniform. You chose to go to school there. You're putting on for your school, and just such a special moment.
Well, and Tori, you mentioned making the most out of your opportunities, and not just in one instance or in one situation, but continuously doing good things. And that is what Danny Elder has been doing lately. He's going to bring up Kelly Martinez. 0 for 1 on the night to draw a walk back in the 4th. Martinez had the big home run on Wednesday. Texas A&M beating SFA in 15 innings. This one popped up on the infield. Morgan will call for it and make the catch for out number 1. So Alabama 2 outs away from the run rule this evening. Kayla Garcia is going to come up to bat, 0 for 1 on the night, or 0 for 0, excuse me. Drew a walk back in the 2nd, did not hit in her 2nd at bat. Peyton McBride pinch hit back in the 4th. Garcia, only her 2nd start of her collegiate career, started on Wednesday night against SFA. And you know, Tori, for someone who has not seen any playing time, and now here you are starting against the number 3 team in the country. What kind of emotions do you think were going through Kayla Garcia tonight, especially when that first pitch got thrown?
I think a lot of it, as a young player with not very many starts, you don't know any better. You know, it just comes to that moment where you haven't experienced starting an SEC game at all, and they're the 3rd-ranked team, but who cares? What do you have to lose? This is only your 2nd start. So, I mean, you made your way in, and you just got to try to keep swinging, do something well. And you can't do well if you're timid. So go all out or don't go at all.
Another foul ball from Garcia, the freshman from Katy, Texas. Facing the senior in the circle, Courtney Gettins for Alabama. Another ground ball, this time to the right side, or to the right side.
I'm impressed with just the way she's fighting off pitches and getting them out of the zone if she doesn't want them, knowing she wants to barrel something up and just get on base here, and not taking too big of swings, but just keeping it simple, compact, trying to find a barrel.
Good eye there by Garcia. Lets that drop ball go by. Evens the count, 2-2. Another foul ball by Kayla Garcia. Really making Courtney Gettins work here. Gettins coming into this ballgame with a 4.03 ERA, is 4-0 on the season. 33 innings pitched. Fouls this one off right into her foot. That pitch registering right at 61 miles an hour. So definitely a slower speed than they saw from Fouts. Here's the 2-2. Another foul ball by Kayla Garcia. So a great at-bat here by the freshman, making the most out of it. The 11th pitch of the at-bat right there by Gettins.
Just a great job of making Gettins come in and work. Danny Elder going yard the first at-bat of this inning. And then Kayla Garcia, 11 pitch at bat. That's making a pitcher work right there. 12 pitch at bat.
Misses there, so 3 balls, 2 strikes to the freshman. Garcia looking for her 4th hit on the season. It's going to roll down the first baseline, foul.
I wonder what the longest at bat.
We'll have to do some homework and bring it.
Like how many pitches?
Right, and bring it. We'll bring it tomorrow to the broadcast.
We'll bring it to you here.
We'll bring it to you right here on SEC Network Plus. We will be back tomorrow, by the way. Another foul ball by Kayla Garcia, and this is a battle right here between the freshman hitter and the senior pitcher.
And you know Gettins is tired of throwing all these pitches.
We talked about it earlier with Hannah Mayo in the circle. You know, how frustrating is it as a pitcher? This hitter just won't go away.
And I think it's frustrating, too, because you can't start over.
This one ripped down the right field line, and that is a base hit for Kayla Garcia. So she does win the battle. Garcia with her 4th hit of the season. And it comes with 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th.
Just an incredible at-bat, and Garcia able to get to that inside pitch and get her hips all the way through and to bring those hands through and get it extended to get a barrel on it. Could have easily gotten handcuffed on that pitch after fouling off so many outside pitches, but being able to turn on that one and drop it in close to the right field line.
Tadria Cine shows bunt, actually goes for that one, kind of pokes at it for strike 1. She's 0 for 1 on the night with a strikeout. Coach Evans going to call time right here to come talk to her, and I can see why. That pitch, she kind of looked like she was going to pull back, and then she poked at it, and I think just trying to talk to her young hitter and tell her, hey, this is what we need. Don't try to be so tricky, maybe.
I believe she's probably, I'm not going to say for sure, but I'm going to assume that she's telling her just to get on base, whatever it may be. But most likely, she's telling her, get on base because look who's up behind you, Kelby Fortenberry. And she's one of the hottest hitters in this lineup. So all you need to do is get on base.
She's going to try swinging on that attempt, fouls it back. So quickly down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes. Cine hitting .273 on the season. Pokes this one to the left side. Jenkins will have to hurry, and she does get it over there in time. So a great play right there by the shortstop for Alabama because Cine is super fast, and she really had to charge that ball.
And Cine just barely getting the end of the bat on that ball. And something that Claire Jenkins does so well is she cuts the angle of the ball. So she's charging the ball, but she's also moving towards first base at the same time to cut that ball off from traveling farther back towards the baseline. Just a great job of going to get the ball and making that play with a speedster like Cine.
So Texas A&M down to their last out here. They're down by 10 in the bottom of the 6th. 2 outs, Kelby Fortenberry up to bat, 1 for 3. Had a single up the middle in her last at-bat back in the 5th inning. This one ripped into center field. They're going to hold Kayla Garcia at third. The ball kind of bounces around a couple of Alabama players, but eventually Dykes is able to wrangle it in behind home plate. So a 2-out single. Kelby Fortenberry keeps things alive for the Aggies.
And a good job right there by Fortenberry, just understanding that she wasn't going to be able to win the ball game right there and keeping it simple, not trying to swing for the fences, just shooting it right back where it came from for a single. And thought Garcia might have had a chance, but
and I think had she have gone, she would have scored because of the way that ball bobbled a little bit. But you're right. It was a really strong throw from Brown out in center. And I think had that ball been let go and not touched, it would have been a very, very close play at home.
And Getton's just not getting off the field to get in her backup position. She needed to be behind the plate, and Tao was over there, the first baseman, ready for the cutoff play. She is the relay person in that play. So Gettins needs to get out of the way and let her have that cutoff, because Gettin's job is to be the backup, so the backside runner doesn't get to second base,
she just
maybe
got
third
stuck
base.
in the middle there.
Yep.
1 ball, 1 strike to Blake Ann Fritz. She had a double in her last at bat. Scored Kelby Fortenberry back in the 5th. Gettins catches that outside part of the plate for strike 2. Texas A&M has made Courtney Gettins really work this inning, but they still have more work to do. They don't want this ball game to end. Lifted down the left field line. That'll be foul against the netting. Fritz just able to get a piece of that one. So again, another Texas A&M hitter really battling in there with 2 strikes. Able to foul off some of these pitches to stay alive. As we mentioned earlier, we will be back for tomorrow's game. First pitch at 2 p.m. right here on SEC Network Plus. Thanks to you for tuning in tonight. Another foul ball back into the stands.
So close.
So close. Almost a great catch. It's like a short hop. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Fritch. Runners at first and third for the Aggies. Kelby Fortenberry at first, Kayla Garcia at third. Trying to avoid the run rule. This one bounces in front. Fortenberry will stay put at first, but a full count to Fritch.
It's a good decision there by Fortenberry.
Especially right here, full count, 2 outs. You're going to be running on this pitch. And Dykes, again, a very strong arm behind home. Here's the payoff pitch from Gettins. Lifted into left field. On the run is Schroeder, and she will make the snag for out number 3. So a run rule victory for Alabama. And Tori, what were your big takeaways from tonight? Why did the Tide, why were they able to do what they did? 13 runs on 12 hits.
I mean, it all started off with that Hemphill 3-run home run in the first inning, and then just taking advantage of having runners in scoring position, just not letting people be left on. They're taking their opportunities when they have them, getting those runs in, whether it's a line drive off the wall or just a little flare over the second baseman's head. They just got it done.
Well, for Tori Vidalis and our entire crew at 12th Man Productions, I'm Chelsea Reber saying goodnight from College Station, Texas. Once again, our final score, Alabama 13, Texas A&M 3. To watch a replay of this game, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of the SEC ESPN Network.